How do you get more visits and more eyes on your Etsy shop without paying for ads? So no matter how cute your items are or how great your listings are, you're going to get no sales if you have no visitors. And there are so many ways to get visitors. Some people really recommend ads. Some people recommend social media. Some people just recommend your SEO. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how at one point I was driving over 50% of my visits to my shop, and that was over 50,000 visits per month without paying for ads. So maybe you're sitting here thinking, I can hardly get 500 visits to my shop per month. And that's okay, because that's where every shop starts, and you don't need to be in that place for long. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dylan Jarris, and I'm an Etsy seller of about 7 years. I've sold over $1.5 million in revenue on the platform, over $1 million in profit, and my entire background is corporate e-commerce. So I worked for big companies like Zappos and Zulily, and now I'm teaching over 1,000 Etsy sellers just like you how to scale their businesses. And that's with my program, Multi-Six-Figure Etsy Blueprint. If you want information on that, I'll put a link below just to reach out and get more details on what that looks like. But in today's video, I want to talk about traffic, and I'm talking about free traffic. We're not paying for anything. We're not asking our friends and family to click on anything either. So first, I want to talk about the not spending anything, because there's videos out there recommending that you spend, $50 a day on ads. Some videos recommend you spend hundreds of dollars a day on ads. You really don't need Etsy ads. Etsy ads is probably one of the least sophisticated ways you can do advertising. There's very little control, and you're essentially not really segmenting anyone or anything. If you have a little bit of time, you can drive your own traffic organically. All you need is 20 minutes a day. You can do it 5 minutes here when you're in line at the grocery store, 5 minutes, when your kids are distracted with something. You don't even need a consistent 20 minutes. 20 minutes of free time in your day can get this done. Let's talk about Etsy ads though first. In the year that I spent the most on Etsy ads, I spent on average $109 per month. What did that give me? It gave me on average $207 in revenue. I have physical products, right, in my shop. So that is terrible. That meant that I was basically selling my items for half price. And at the time, Etsy ads only made up 2% of the visits to my shop. So if an item sold for, let's say, $100, my ad spend to get that revenue was $50. And let's say that I had priced my items at $100 to give myself a 50% margin. And that was meant to cover my hourly wage. Well, that $50 profit literally went directly to ads. So I'm basically giving away the item for free and not even paying myself. So that was the year that I spent the most on Etsy ads. And my strategy has never been to rely on Etsy ads for either revenue or visits. Another thing with ads is that once you stop spending, the traffic can stop coming. So you can get into a cycle where you are stuck pumping money into the ad machine just to get your views and visits up, which is not a cycle that you want to be in, especially if it's killing your margin. So let's dive into my visits in my shop. So we are going to look at a 12-month period here, and you can see at the peak, I was driving over 50,000 visits to my shop. So out of those 485,000 visits, the Etsy app brought 31% of my visits. Etsy search brought 10% of my visits. Etsy marketing and SEO, which is offsite ads, that brought 28% of my visits, because remember the total number of visits was 485,000. Direct traffic was about 4%. Social media was 22%, and Etsy ads was literally 1.6%. So let's take a look at the social media. So out of our social media stats here, you can see that Pinterest was driving the majority of our traffic from social media. So Pinterest drove nearly 95% of our social media traffic. And note, we did not pay anything for this. Now, the reason that Pinterest worked so well was because, some of those pins that I had out there, I had put them up 4 years prior. And when you do that with Pinterest, they build like a snowball. So you can see Pinterest drove over 20% of the total visits to my shop that year. And this is a breakdown of my total traffic at the top. Okay, so now let's talk about how do you actually do Pinterest? Do you need to be going onto Canva and spending all this time making pins? Good news is there's an easier way. I don't know about you, but I do not like busy work. I am more all about the fast, efficient way to do things. So I'm going to show you my exact strategy for how I got over 100,000 visits from Pinterest. Number one, just open a Pinterest business account. It's super easy to set up, and this way you can actually see the analytics. Without a Pinterest business account, you're going to be flying blind. It's going to take you so much longer to even pick up on what's working and what's not. Business Pinterest account, it's like the only way to do it. So the great thing about your business Pinterest account is that you can actually see which pins are working and what you should be doing more of. So this is just a snapshot of mine. It's the last 90 days. Now, I have not touched Pinterest Pinterest in years because I don't have to. And I literally put these pins out and now I'm just coasting. But basically you can see your impressions. So 1.54 million impressions. This is last 90 days. And then you can see engagements, your total audience, engaged audience. Now, metrics that you want to be looking at, of course, you want to look at your top pins to see which ones are working the best, but you also want to be looking at your pin clicks and then outbound clicks to see when people actually go to Etsy. You're going to also want to look at saves, and then you're going to want to keep an eye on your total audience numbers as well. But ultimately, we want to see which pins are working better. We're not just looking at overall impressions. We really want to see which specific pins are working, which listings are getting traffic from Pinterest. And then if you scroll down, you can see your top pins. I have pins that get over 100,000 impressions per month. You know, it tells you a lot about where to focus your time when you're doing Pinterest and which listings to focus on when you're doing Pinterest. Pinterest doesn't work for every single listing. I would really think about your customers for each specific listing, which of those customers are actually using Pinterest. You also want to make sure you're doing the Pinterest optimized photo. Pinterest, I always say it's pointless if you're not doing that. So why do we like Pinterest? Why is it worth your time? Well, pins live forever. Unlike Facebook and Instagram, when you make posts on there, Pinterest pins build. They build like a snowball. So you really get that momentum going. Whereas on Facebook and Instagram, your post lives like 24, 48 hours. If it doesn't hit, if it doesn't pop off, then you got to try again. Well, with Pinterest, things can pick up months after you put them out there. And creating pins, it doesn't need to be a 20-minute task. With the Pinterest Chrome extension, you can simply use that extension to pin exactly what's in the listing. So as you can see, it's really simple and straightforward. So here's an example. So I'm just going to go and pin this, click next, choose a board, and then visit that pin. And as you can see, it has all of its SEO and it is up on Pinterest. Now, your SEO really matters for Pinterest. Do not use Pinterest until your listings are optimized. So make sure your SEO is on point before you start pinning things. If you have great photos, but trash SEO, it's kind of pointless. Pinterest is great because people go to Pinterest expecting to click off of Pinterest. With Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, they're planning on scrolling and staying on that platform for a while. Even on Facebook and things, right? You click on something and it says, are you sure you want to leave? Pinterest, it's built into the user's expectations. So people have very different intentions when they are browsing Instagram or TikTok and when they're browsing Pinterest. So if you are interested in learning how to increase your traffic with Pinterest or through any other channel without paying for ads, I'd love to help you. This is my expertise. So feel free to reach out if you'd like to know more. The link to contact me is in the description box below. All right, if you like videos like this, subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next one.